Hey guys, before the video starts, I would really greatly appreciate it if you guys could hit that subscribe and like button. I know it's annoying to ask, especially in the first thing in the video, but I ain't got no sponsors. It's the best I can do to help my channel grow. But if not, I just appreciate your time and listening. Thank you so much, enjoy the vid. So, Portal, huh?
Let's look at some of the challenges you'll face.
Yes, in your face, I got brilliant, yeah. Take one more look at your precious human moon.
So in case you don't make it through the testing, goodbye.
I don't think it's understatement to assume that this game is one of the most influential and impactful games of the last 2 decades. Truly earning the title as one of the best and most casual friendly puzzle games of all time, where someone like me whose first instinct is to always put the square box in the circle hole. And a story filled with characters that always make me burst out laughing every single playthrough.
Well, this is the part where he kills us.
Hello, this is the part where I kill you.
But I feel like I have to admit, doing a full playthrough of Portal 1 and 2 always feels so disconnected in a way. And I feel like the biggest culprit of that is the puzzles themselves. You see, in Portal 1, you had a lot more freedom to move around, jump around, and fly around to try and solve the puzzles your way. And ironically, even though the puzzles are a lot simpler than in Portal 2, they're a lot more fun to solve because you can solve them in a number of different ways. Heck, every time someone new plays it, there's a new way they figure out how to do it themselves. And it's this level of player freedom that I feel like has been completely underappreciated in Portal 1. And I want to give it its long overdue props, while also highlighting why Portal 2 had to break this amazing formula in order to get something even better. Now, I do want to get something out of the way first. There are going to be some spoilers in this video, so if you've never played Portal before, 1, what's wrong with you? Go play it right now. It's literally always on sale for like dirt cheap. 2, this isn't a lore dump, just more about the test and focusing on their creative freedom. And I think the best example is my absolute favorite puzzle in all of Portal 1 and 2 combined. Number 14. Because fun fact, even on my first blind playthrough, I have never solved this puzzle the way it was intended. I have always done my method, and it's so satisfying. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna show it to explain it.
All subjects intending to handle high-energy gamma-leaking portal technology must be informed that they may be informed of applicable regulatory compliance issues. No further compliance information is required or will be provided, and you are an excellent test subject.
Alright, you see this? You see this? Check this out. Check it out. Here's my 1000 IQ play. And there it is. And oh, I have done that every single time I have played this game, and every single time it is just so satisfying. That feeling I get from solving that puzzle the unintended way, the only way I can compare it to is definitely when Wheatley first gets that itch satisfied when you solve a puzzle in Portal 2. It's like, oh, I can't compare it, man. Like, you can imagine my disappointment in Portal 2. Great story. I love Portal 2. It is the superior game. But it's pretty clear that the puzzles are more mainstream. Like, there's a certain way you have to solve them, and it's kind of hard to deviate from that. But what Portal 2 lacked in its freedom of its puzzles, it made up for dramatically in its story.
And it's not out of the question that you might have a very minor case of serious brain damage on this time. Okay, ready? 1. Catch me, catch out!
Oh, hi. So, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato. Well, this is the part where he kills us.
Hello, this is the part where I kill you.
Portal 2's narrative is one of the best in gaming history. sacrificing Portals 1's isolation feeling for one of comedy, characters, and rich world-building lore, and you couldn't have done that without all the new mechanics they introduced, so it's kind of like a give and a take. In order to add everything they wanted to expand on with the Portal formula, they sort of had to make the puzzles more straightforward. If they didn't craft these puzzles in a certain way, it could be a nightmare trying to solve them if you add in a sandbox option. If players could easily figure out ways to skip the new mechanics, they may not learn them for future puzzles, making it harder on the long run. Let me see if I can find the words to explain this. Portal 1 had a more focus on the gameplay aspect, while the narrative was more in the background, lingering in the back of your mind. Portal 2 is answering all the questions you had in Portal 1, so it makes sense that it would have to be more narrative focused. And to expand Aperture Science, you have to expand the tests they would run. You couldn't just have it all be more white chambers and just using the portal gun to get from point A to point B. You needed to spice it up, added more variables. It'd be like if not only like Valve was throwing in all these new variables into a blender for Portal 2, and they were also trying to force in the narrative and sandbox option, it'd be like a disaster of a mix. It would not be able to flow correctly. I think the best way to compare it is to the Terminator movies. Portal 1 is a lot like Terminator 1, a thriller, suspenseful, feeling of dread in the air. Portal 2 is a lot like Terminator 2. It loses that sense of thrill and suspense for action, heart, and all of this little funny moments that the first one just didn't have. And I think what shows this best is how each game handles their final act. Let's be honest, Portal 1's final act and chase sequence it's alright. It's suspenseful on your first playthrough, but to me personally, I'm just trying to rush through it as fast as possible to get to the GLaDOS fight. Though I will admit, the room where all the turrets pop out at you and try to kill you is one of my favorite sequences because I like to pretend that I'm Batman going after them when they're not looking.
Who are you?
It's just really funny and fun to me. I don't know why. It's a simple sequence from going from point A to point B, but that's just because Portal 1 has simpler tools it taught you. And to be fair, when you get to GLaDOS' boss fight, it's an amazing final fight, but it is really simple, and once you know how to beat her, it only takes like literally less than 3 minutes to do it if you know what you're doing. Portal 2, on the other hand, because they had all of these other moving parts and mechanics throughout the entire game, they're able to not only expand on this final sequence, but really push it to its absolute limit with so many amazing highlights. Taking everything you experienced and learned throughout the game, and using it to its fullest to craft a very fun and hilarious narrative of the final battle between you and Wheatley. And it's here where Portal 2's biggest strength comes into play. Its story and narrative and characters. In Portal 1, there was only you and GLaDOS was more or less just trying to act like an AI that was on the fritz. But here, you get to experience the rich characters, the stories, the humor, and everything is on full display at its 100% best. And it's all so satisfying with a nice little bow on top. Everything going full circle from GLaDOS and Wheatley switching places and even switching the dialogue of trying to switch them out for their cores. Oh my gosh, it's so great. The nice little reference to Portal 1 with putting the cores on Wheatley. There is not a single thing I would change about this ending sequence. So while yes, Portal 1 does its puzzles better, Portal 2 does literally everything else better and delivers like 10 times over. And that's the difference between the two. They were both trying to set out to accomplish different feelings and narratives, and they both crushed it in their departments. So what does this all mean exactly? I suck at puzzles, I love Portal 2, I love humor, Wheatley's one of the best characters ever written along with GLaDOS, and yeah, thank you for watching guys, I appreciate it.